Very good morning to one and all present here. I am very happy to see Professor Pereira from Sefil Alam University. I can see your face. Professor Sujit Dubey from Banaras Hindu University. Sir, we are not able to see you because if you can share your Zoom ID in the name, the Zoom ID is saved, then we can get you. Professor R.K. Singh from Delhi School of Economics, Delhi University. And professor from South Africa, he will be joining shortly. And other professors are the session chairs as told by Professor John Pereira. And some of the professors will be joining in the valedictory session. But with regard to this conference, I would like to say that since the month of December, January, the whole world has come to a place, perhaps each one of the individual of this globe is connected to that. I don't think that any other events happened in the history that whole humanity is connected to that. Of course, I was going through the literature of the previous pandemics, but maybe because of the type of communication, the transportation facilities during that time, perhaps the pandemic affected the globe, of course, in 1918 and again previously in 1820. But it took some time for spread of the pandemic. The time was around 2 years. But this time, this COVID-19 has spread so fast to almost all the countries in the globe. The number is today around 222, and maybe it has increased little bit in last 2-3 days. I have not seen, but it has created a serious crisis in the world. And each one of us, perhaps I think that have never imagined we are leading a life which is never imagined by us, and as a result of which lots of appreciations are there, lots of anxieties are there, and lots of, I can say that, speculations are also there. So while I designed this conference, I thought that now perhaps all the academicians, the policymakers, they are at home, and instead of imagining the things in our own way, let's create a discussion forum. As such, the academicians, the thought leaders of the world give their insight to this subject, and maybe through this discussion we can come to a solution which may help the humanity. So that was the basic objective. Of course, I have also attended number of conferences on COVID-19 in last 1 month, and after seeing the enthusiasm of the people, the academicians, the professionals, even the doctors to contribute for the subject, it had motivated me. And I am also writing some literature on this. So while writing the literature, I would like to share some slides with all the conference speakers and the guests, those who are present here. Mostly I work in the area of human leadership, but this COVID-19 had forced me to think in this direction, that in my place and in my organization also today we find that for a self-sustainable organization or for a self-sustainable system, to run a system with number of people, those who are contributing for the purpose, without any, I can say that adjustment, but without any type of appropriation among all the resources and all, perhaps it will be very difficult. And we see that in recent time, number of people are losing their jobs, number of organizations are being closed down, and lots of crisis has been created. And this crisis has totally disrupting not only our economic system, but also the social system. And when the total social system is being disrupted, the damage is being particularly created to the public health system, the economy, the community relationship, and other systems around the globe. But if you see the records in media, lots of news are coming, and we are getting connected to that. And mostly, if you see in COVID-19, I was going through the literature and the survey and the reports of United Nations, which was published in 23rd March 2020. And after that, they have added some of the information up to 3rd of May in their website itself. And their first report, as they had mentioned, that old people are more vulnerable to that. And if you see the statistics of different countries of USA, Europe, China, then you can see that the death statistics of the old people, particularly the people of more than 65 years of age, it's around 80%. And the people, those who are of 55 years of age, it's around 92%. And the total world statistics, if you see, that 95% deaths are above 45 years of age, and 72% deaths are above 65 years of age. And because of this, we also find some of the news in the social media and also in the newspaper, of course, and also the mass media around the globe, that it's creating a social stigma among the old people. Sometimes we also get the information that those old people are not getting the adequate support for their healthcare system from their family itself, and which is creating a social discrimination, and that is having a social disaster impact on their capability and the social status itself. Second is that the people, those who are disabled, the people, those who are dependent on other people. And in that case, for the disabled people, what we find, the people, those who are dependent on other people, while the matter of social distancing is coming, then perhaps they are not getting the sufficient people, those who will be helping them even to do their day-to-day jobs. And if you see that the world statistics, that 42% of the disabled people, they are having mostly the poor health condition itself. And in comparison to 6% of the general people. And while the disabled people are having the poor health condition, and as per the WHO guidelines and the UN report, they are more vulnerable to the pandemic. And third is coming to the indigenous people. Normally the indigenous people, those who are living in already they are living in an isolation place, they have isolated themselves from the world. They isolate themselves from the world, but in their community itself, they build up the bond with by organizing different social events and by attending different celebrations. And this pandemic has forced them for the social distancing. Maybe it will lead to a social disruption among the indigenous people. Coming to the global economy, maybe some people are nowadays thinking that whether this pandemic will provide a platform to the world leaders for deglobalization or isolation, or as the lockdown has created a situation that the nations, the states, the districts, even in India, we find that different panchayats and villages have been isolated by themselves itself. The movement since last 45 days, the people have been isolated in different places. And if you see the research done by the Acute Rating Research agencies about the Indian economy, that lockdown is costing around 4.7 billion per day. And now it has become 45 days, and which means that it's touching the few trillion to the economy itself. Sensex has gone down to almost half in the April. The single digit growth for India is 0%, which is expected to be 0% in 2020 and 0.8% in 2021, which has been researched by Centrum Institutional Research Center. And Center for Monitoring Indian Economy CMI report May 3rd told that the unemployment rate in India increases to 27.1% in the week ended by 3rd May. And in March, it was 8.7%. And in April, because of the lockdown, that number increased to 23.5%. And in the last week, it spikes to 27.1%. The CMI Consumer Pyramid Household Survey says that in April, the job loss reached around 11.4 crores in different sectors. And NASSCOM declared the job loss for the software sector recently. And if you see the report of CMI, the state-wise, in Puducherry, the highest job loss was 75.8%, followed by Tamil Nadu and Bihar, which varies from 42 to 47, 48%. Tamil Nadu is the second, third is the Bihar and Jharkhand. So when the job loss is so huge, and we see that the migrant workers, those who are there in the different states, slowly they are being allowed to come to their home state. And now I find I have not researched that what other state government have taken the action, but government of Orissa has instructed to the construction industries and the other agricultural industries and the MSMEs which have been opened from 20th of April as per the Government of India guidelines, and after that followed by the guidelines of government of the different states. They say that when the migrant workers are moving to their respective states, the state industrialists should focus to get the skilled people from the database of the state registered list, and they can continue their work till the situation is normalized. I think that such type of situation may create the culture in the workplace, and also the skill differences and the differences in the capability and contribution may differ, and the industrialist may not get the people with the required skill for the job itself. And how it will solve the purpose, the time I think that we all are watching that how it will solve the purpose. And now Honorable Prime Minister said just before yesterday and day before yesterday that all 250,000 Gram Panchayats to be self-reliant. Of course, it was there previously. We all were focusing on Swaraj. It was told by our father of nation 70 years back. And now I think that whatever he's telling that we should go for the self-reliance, or each one of the panchayats should go for the self-reliance, how it will boost to the economy. Perhaps we are going to see it. And if we keenly analyze the international business scenario, when the whole country, whole world is trying to shift their thinking to shift their business, what we are getting only the news from the media. I don't have any sufficient data to support my views in that. India may think to diversify the FDIs from other countries to this country, and it may boost the manufacturing sector of this country if the country also minimizes our own import, and we try to we make our each one of the panchayat, the district, the state self-reliant. Then government involvement in healthcare and tertiary care services, transportation, and other services, starting from the drinking water, sanitation, and other hygienic services, it may create some of the jobs in future. And as we all talk about the national and global solidarity, yesterday I was viewing the BBC yesterday and day before yesterday, and there is a special program on COVID-19 where all the world leaders are speaking on the COVID-19 and its impact on the whole world, its economy, and also the social system, where everybody was focusing on 2-3 aspects. One was the global solidarity, where each one of the human being of the world should work together to stop this pandemic, and we all should have the consciousness and concern for the humanity. Then only this pandemic can be stopped. And the disruption in the labor, this self-reliance may disrupt the labor market, particularly the migrant laborers, which should be eased, and I can say that some motivation should be created by them. And the self-reliance system may disrupt the transport of goods in subcontinental regions of this country, and to maintain the equity of demand and supply that has been done till now, may it seriously get disrupted. Because in this country, we are having different type of climate, different type of environment, and each one of the region, the people are having different type of skill set, and they involve in different type of businesses itself. And if those people, if the social equity will be disturbed, maybe the business system will be disrupted. The proper planning for relocation of FDIs to India also can be done by the government. The natural transformation in certain sectors is happening after this, the outbreak of COVID-19. Being in education, I find that there is the transformation in education sector has happened in last 2 months naturally. Maybe because of that, because of it only, we all are here and attending the conferences online, what we never expected. Normally attending the conference, we plan before 15 days, we book the flights, we book the taxes, go and attend different conferences, talk to the people. We love to attend conferences because we love to talk to the people. We want to share our thoughts, our prudence, our intellect findings with the people, and try to get the same with them also. Get the same from the conferences and come back with different experiences. But whether these online conferences, the digital learning mode, which is slowly exploring, whether that will suffice to that experiences. Maybe we'll be sharing the information, but the experience and realization, whether that can be shared with this. But slowly that system is emerging. Maybe if we are not going completely online, that online in education sector going online, that move has started 5 years back with the advent of MOOCs, Coursera and other Udemy, other online platforms. And almost all the good universities of the globe have already adopted that. But I think that if you are not going for completely online after this pandemic, but maybe some hybrid system emerge. And how the educational institutions will be functioning and how they will be maintaining their status in the global scenario, that also may culminate the different problems, the solutions to that. And we are all are apprehending different scenario for that. And now software industries are thinking about the work from home. And yesterday just TCS has declared that their 75% workforce will work from home by 2025 because they want to seriously reduce their establishment cost. And other industries also may take the clue and they can explore the opportunities of work from home, cost of establishment. But with that, whether it will be possible for the industries, for the business houses to maintain the work culture in that industry itself, and the peer learning system as it happens. Normally what we have experienced when a person is coming from the university or the academic to the industry, the 75% learning happens in initial 2 to 3 years, or it happens lifetime. While we work together, we learn from each other the different skills. And we share the knowledge and prudence with each other to do a certain work. If I am not having any skill, then I may take the help of my colleague to do my job. Then in that way, we have learned to work together and to achieve the target. But whether how it will suffice during that time, of course, now different online platforms are there. We are saying that through Zoom, through WebEx, through Google Meet, we can share our ideas and all, but whether it will give that sort of experience and realization. Then travel and tourism industry, the transportation industry, perhaps which will be suffering a lot. Transportation, I think that this sector also is going to suffer a lot. About the tourism, I'll be discussing later on. And the focus of the whole, I can say that policymakers of different nations now slowly shifting to the public health and the healthcare infrastructure, and concern for health may give momentum to the healthcare sector in recent next 4 to 5 years. The public services in the hygiene infrastructure also may take the boom. But big physical infrastructure of the academic institution may be replaced by the technology. The socialization and learning together concept may be obsolete, that we all are thinking about, and different other emerging system of peer learning may come up and take the place, and let's wait and watch what will be done. And now in India, around 139 million migrant workers are working in different states, and 20 million people are working abroad. Around 14 crore migrant workers are working in different places of the country, and 2 crores people are working abroad from this country itself. Then what will happen if this work from home concept is coming? whether people will be migrating to work to different places, or they'll be working from home, or what sort of situation is coming. That sector is also coming off slowly. Coming to the tourism and travel sectors, if you see keenly, perhaps this sector will be affected most, because as per the data shown in the World Tourism Organization of UN, they say that as per their report of 2018, around 900 million people visit only the top 20 destinations of the globe every year. When 900 million people visit the top 20 destinations of the globe, and around 1.4 billion people are the world travelers. And this sector is mostly in this sector, around 20 crores, 200 million people get the job, and that contribute to the 10% of the GDP. In 2017, data is available up to 2017 in their portal. 10% of that sector contribute to the 10% GDP of the world. And if you see, I was going through the statistics, I found that in Macau and Maldives, in those countries, the GDP is completely dependent on tourism and travel sector. And it contributes from 50% to 72%. And all the global leaders in a special program, as I was telling just now, they are saying that only the global solidarity, institutionalizing the humanitarian system in the globe, and respect for each other, for the humanity, that can only solve this COVID, give us some ways to solve this pandemic situation and come to a conclusion on that. So I was going through the data. Around 160 people have submitted their research paper in different directions, in tourism and healthcare, in education, in industries, in manufacturing, in service sector. And I hope that from this discussion, I want to take some clues. I am also writing a literature on that. And I hope that if the report of this conference should come in a good form, as such, we can recommend some points to Government of India or the state government. We are having Professor Pereira from UK. He will be giving some perspective give some points from UK perspective also. It will be a very learning experience for each one of us. And we are also having people from South Africa. We are having a person from Russia and one from USA. So they will be giving their perspective also, that how this COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted their system and what is the course of action. I was listening to Boris Johnson just 2 days back. He was telling that now they are going to open some of their system, but let's listen from the people, those who are there in that country, and sharing their experiences in that. So thank you all for such huge registration of 800 numbers and 160 papers. And I hope that in next 2 days, each one of us will be getting the ways to learn from each other. Thanks to Professor Dubey and Professor R.K. Singh, those who have given their consent to share their ideas and experiences in this topic. And thanks to Professor Pereira also. Let's listen to them. Thank you all.